You're listening to Why You Feel Like This, the series that explains what no one tells you about identity, consistency, and why change hasn't held. This is episode 3, Why You Keep Starting Again. This is where people start believing something is wrong with them, not instantly, quietly. You tell yourself, this time I mean it. This time I'm sorting my life out properly. And in that moment, you believe it. You feel focused again, driven again, clear again. You make plans, set targets, start rebuilding, then pressure hits, stress builds, life gets heavier, your emotional state changes, and suddenly, the version of you that was locked in disappears again. That moment destroys people internally because eventually you stop trusting yourself. I remember sitting there after being medically discharged in February 2014, thinking, how can I lead soldiers through pressure but not control my own head anymore? That thought haunted me because externally, I still looked capable, but internally, everything felt unstable. Some days, focused, sharp-driven, other days, flat, disconnected, reactive, same person, different behaviour, and because I didn't understand what was happening, I kept trying to restart my life over and over again. Every Monday, every fresh start. I thought motivation would save me. It didn't, because motivation only works when your emotional state is stable, and mine wasn't. That's the trap most people live in. You keep waiting to feel ready again. But readiness is emotional, structure is behavioral, and if your behavior depends on how you feel, consistency collapses when pressure appears. That's exactly what happened to me. I tried rebuilding behavior without rebuilding identity underneath it, and eventually, the cycle started taking pieces of my life with it, my patience, my relationships, my self-respect. At one point, I nearly lost my family because I didn't understand what was happening to me. That's the reality of this. Repeated instability changes how you see yourself, because your brain tracks patterns constantly. Every time you quit, avoid, disconnect, delay, your nervous system records it. Repeated behavior becomes evidence, and after a while, your brain stops seeing inconsistency as temporary. It starts seeing it as you. That's why restarting becomes harder every time, because now, you're not just fighting behavior, you're fighting accumulated evidence. Evidence that says you never stay consistent. You always fall back. That's why people feel exhausted before they've even started again, because part of them already expects the collapse, and most people never realize that. They think they need more motivation, more confidence, more pressure, but pressure without structure creates collapse, and pressure reveals training. Eventually, I realized I wasn't weak. I was unstructured internally. The army had given me routine, identity, standards, belonging, and when that disappeared, I didn't know how to regulate myself without it. So my emotional state controlled my behavior, and my behavior controlled my outcomes. That's identity instability. That's why some days you feel powerful, and other days you feel lost, not because your potential changes, because your internal system changes under pressure. Once you understand that, you stop attacking yourself emotionally. You start observing yourself honestly. That changes everything, because awareness creates choice. Before awareness, your behavior is automatic. After awareness, you can interrupt it. That interruption matters. That's where rebuilding begins. One controlled response at a time. One repeated behavior at a time. That's how identity stabilizes, not through intensity, through repetition. That's why motivation fails. Motivation is emotional. Identity is behavioral. And behavior only stabilizes through repeated action under pressure. That's the process. Awareness, understanding, regulation, identity, stability. That's auris, structure, because structure holds when emotion disappears. And if you're listening to this right now, still stuck in the cycle of constantly restarting your life, hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are repeating patterns you haven't understood well enough to interrupt yet. And once you understand the pattern, you stop restarting blindly. You start rebuilding deliberately. Because if you don't, the cycle keeps taking pieces of your life with it. Your confidence, your relationships, your identity, your future. That's why this matters, and that's where this changes. If this is you, subscribe to my channel for future episodes, or click the link in the description for the 5-day reset and start your journey today.